record. Good morning. How is everybody?
Good morning. Buenos dias.
All right. Are you ready for our brain smart start? Get our brains moving, our bodies moving. Oops, I went too fast. There we go. There is something fun we can do when we meet. Some are silly, some are proper, way too great.
Stand up tall, find a friend, and stick out your right hand. Firmly shake and look them in the eye.
Turn your head from side to side.
Give a silly old bumper sideways high.
Good morning. Buenos dias. What's up? It's a great day. I'm thankful to be with you. Good morning. Buenos dias. What's up? I'm happy to feel this way. Feel this way. Feel this way. There is something fun we can do when we meet. Some are silly, some are proper, way too great.
Close your hand with your knuckles facing at a friend. Now you both have knuckles as you smile. Turn your head.
Let me see your silly face.
Give a silly old bumper sideways high.
Good morning. Buenos dias. What's up? It's a great day. I'm thankful to be with you.
Buenos dias.
What's up? I'm happy to feel this way. Feel this way. Feel this way. Okay. All right, next is, look at that silly shoe, the wonderful woman who lived in a shoe. All right, there was a wonderful woman who lived in a shoe. She had so many children, she knew exactly what to do. Who remembers? She held them, and then what did she do? She rocked them and tucked them into bed. I love you, I love you, I love you is what she said. Okay, oh, another one of my favorites today. And this one, look at this giant book I have. Oh, it's upside down. The Mitten. All right, this is a really big book, so I'm going to try to do this on the computer. Let's see. I have it smaller, but I thought it would be fun to do the big one. All right. The Mitten. Look at all those animals. What kinds of animals do you see in this story? Do you think are going to be in this story? There's a bear and an owl. Let's see. All right, and The Mittens by Jan Brett. She adapted, and adapted means that she didn't write the story, but there was the story, and she kind of changed it a little bit, and then she illustrated. And who's the illustrator? The illustrator draws the picture. Okay, here we go. I'm gonna have to scoot back. There it is. You see the whole thing? I got it all in there?
Yep.
Once there was a boy named Nicky who wanted his new mittens made from wool as white as snow. And pay attention, friends, to what's in the mitten shape over here, because that is going to show you what's going to happen next. So who do you think this lady is? At first, his grandmother, Baba, did not want to knit white mittens. If you drop one in the snow, she warned, you'll never find it. But Nicky wanted snow white mittens, and finally, Baba made them. You know what I think I'm going to do? I'm going to fold it. So then it's just a little bit. There you go. And, oh, what do you think is going to happen next? I see snow. After she finished, she said, when you come home, first I will look to see if you are safe and sound. But then I will look to see if you still have your snow white mittens. So off Nikki went, and it wasn't long until one of the mittens dropped into the snow and was left behind. You see the mitten right here? It blends in with the snow. That's why his grandmother did not want to make those mittens, right? And he calls his grandmother Baba. What do you call your grandmother?
I call my grandmother Abuelita.
Ooh, I call my grandmother Nana. What's this one? And my kids have an Oma and a Nanny. Their grandmother. That's what they call their grandma. A mole, tired from tunneling along, discovered the mitten and burrowed inside. It was cozy and warm and just the right size, so he decided to stay. There it is. See the mole? He's a little guy. He went right into the mitten. And who's going to come next? A snowshoe rabbit came hopping by. He stopped for a moment to admire his winter coat. It was then he saw the mitten and he wiggled in feet first. The mole didn't think there was room for both of them, but then he saw the rabbit's big kickers and moved over. There he is. Who's going to come next? That might be a little better. Next, a hedgehog came snuffling along. Having spent the day looking under wet leaves for things to eat, he decided to move into the mitten and warm himself. The mole and the rabbit were bumped and jostled, but not being ones to argue with someone covered in prickles, they made room. There he is. Who's going to come next? Ooh, as soon as the hedgehog disappeared into the mitten, a big owl, attracted by the commotion, swooped down. When he decided to move in also, the mole, the rabbit, and the hedgehog grumbled. But when they saw the owl's talons, they quickly let him in. Look at even the hedgehog's prickles. What's going to come next? What kind of animal is that? Up through the snow appeared a badger. He eyed the mitten and began to climb in. The mole, rabbit, and hedgehog and owl were not pleased. There was no room left. But when they saw his diggers, they gave him the thumb. So he got the thumb right here. Uh-oh, who's coming next?
Fox.
I have to open it up for this one. He's a big old fox. It started snowing, but the animals were snug in the mitten. A waft of warm steam rose in the air, and the fox, trotting, stopped to investigate. Just the sight of the cozy mitten made him feel drowsy. The fox poked his muzzle in, and when the mole, rabbit, and the hedgehog, the owl, and the badger saw his shiny teeth, they gave him lots of room. Who's coming next? Do you think the bear would fit in there? A great big bear lumbered by. He spied the mitten all plumped up, and not being one to want to be left out in the cold, he began to nose his way in. The animals were packed in as tightly as could be. But what animal would argue with a bear? The mitten swelled and stretched. It was pulled and bulged many times its size, but Baba's good knitting held fast. What's going to come next? Along came a meadow mouse. Let me see if I can open this up big so you can see the whole mitten because it's gotten so big. No bigger than an acorn. She wiggled into one space left and made herself comfortable right on top of the great bear's nose. See her? What do you think's going to happen? Oh dear. The bear, tickled by the mouse's whiskers, gave an enormous achoo sneeze. The force of the sneeze shot the mitten up in the sky and scattered the animals in all directions. Look at them flying all over the place. On his way home, Nicky saw a white shape in the distance. It was his lost mitten silhouetted against the blue sky. As he ran to catch his snow white mitten, he saw Baba's face in the window. First, she looked to see if he was safe and sound, and then she saw that he still had his new mittens. But look at the look on her face. What happened to the mitten? How did it get so stretched out? That's so silly. How did it get so stretched out? You know how it got so stretched out. How did it get stretched out? Right? All those animals were inside, right? That's so silly. All right, friends, we will see you later. Let's sing. See you later. See you later. See you later when we meet again. See you later.